All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Arlena Spillo, and I'm part of the Davidson Institute team, and I'm your host for today. We're excited to be here with you this afternoon. And before we dive into the Think Information session, I wanted to go over a few housekeeping points so you have an idea of what to expect in this session. All right, so this session is intended to run for 60 minutes. The session will include a presentation and be followed by a Q&A, and we'll do our best to address as many questions as we can in the time allotted. Would like to point out that this is in a Zoom webinar setting, so this is designed so staff can share their video, audio, and screen, but attendees are in view-only mode. The chat feature of Zoom has been enabled, and we do ask that you please direct all of your questions to the Q&A feature. We would hate to miss any of the questions submitted into the chat, and please stay through to the end of the session. You will then be directed to our post-event survey to help us gather feedback on your experience. And of course, a recording of this live webinar will be available on the Davidson Gifted website within a week. And now diving right into this session, I'm pleased to introduce you to Kayla Latin, our Director of Summer Programs here at the Davidson Institute.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Arlene. I am gonna go ahead and share my screen so we can get started. Okay, again, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. So excited to talk more about the 2024 Think Summer Institute this summer, and hopeful that it's a informative session for everyone. Before we dive into all of our content, I have a few quick polls that I'd like to run through while we wait for more participants to join. So quickly, the first one is just seeing who's here with students who have or have not attended an overnight summer camp experience before. So the poll is up on your screen, just a simple yes or no, not a requirement for an application to think, but just helpful to know who could potentially be coming into the summer with that experience or not. And how many of you are here today? All right, it looks like about 67% have students who have attended camp before, which is awesome. And then we have about 33% who have not, which is totally fine as well. So we'll talk a little bit more about how to prepare closer to the end of this session today. And some of that will change based on whether your student has gone to camp before, especially moving into a 3-week experience, which is a little bit on the longer side. Our second poll is just seeing who's here what for age ranges. So is your student under 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, or over 16? So our age requirements, we do have an age requirement for this program for Think Summer Institute of 13 to 16, but maybe you're curious about it for your student next year and you have a student on the younger side, or you were unaware and your student's over 16 and ineligible age wise. However, just kind of getting a pulse of who's here, how many we have on the younger side of the age range or older. All right, looks like majority of our families kind of fall in the middle, with most having students in the 15 or 14 year old age range, and then some with 13 and 16, and one with under 13. So great. Welcome. We're excited that you're here. And our last quick poll, just kind of getting a gauge on what you're here to learn more about. We did look at your registration questions that you submitted when you registered for this Zoom webinar, the areas and questions that you already had. However, these are all topics we're going to review today, but I'll do my best to kind of expand on one or more that majority of you here want to learn more about. So eligibility and readiness, app process, our courses, schedule, student life, staff, or other. Awesome. Okay, great. So it's kind of all over the place, which is totally fine because, like I said, we're going to cover all these topics, but majority are looking more about student life and schedule, with the app process and some courses coming next, and then eligibility and readiness and staff after that. So, like I said, we'll be covering all of those. Okay. All right, and again, just welcome. I wanted to take a second and introduce our team, our summer full-time team year-round that are working hard to prepare for the Think Summer Institute. So I myself, my name's Kayla, and been here, just celebrated 10 years with Davidson, and really excited to be in this role, and have been working with the summer programs department since I've started at Davidson. So this is like my 11th or 12th year summer working with these students, and I'm really eager and excited for the 2024 season. We've been back in person summer camp for quite a few years now since the pandemic, but we just had a really awesome summer last year, full time back, and just it makes us that much more eager and excited for this next summer, just to meet all the students and get ready for everyone's arrival. Today, we also have Avery and Gabby in the background here working on some Q&A questions. Avery is our manager and Gabby is our program support specialist. And they work full time year round to prepare for Think as well. They both have a lot of great passion and excitement for summer camp and the benefits. And so if you do have Q&A questions and you're putting those in the Q&A box, please do, because we'll have some live time at the end to address those. However, they will also be writing some typed responses to them throughout the webinar, just to save some time purposes. So be checking to see if your question got a typed response or not. But they are both here today as well. Wanted to introduce them. You'll likely be talking to either both or one of them throughout the application process or enrollment process, should you choose to apply. Okay, like I said, we're going to go through all these topics. This is kind of the order of events. We'll talk a little more generally about Think and the eligibility, go into a little bit detail about how we staff our programs. Then we'll talk about the schedule, courses, health and wellness, travel and communication are three areas of policies and protocols I always like to highlight. And then how you can best prepare for this program. And we'll talk about the application process and then jump into Q&A. Okay, so to start, Think is one of our longest standing programs. So it's really exciting. We hit 20 years last summer, and so Davidson Think this is our 21st summer, this upcoming summer. Started in 2004, and it is a partnership with the University of Nevada, Reno. So we go through this program. And we partner with UNR to host this program because it is college credit, and students are enrolled at UNR for this program. And so it's all located here in Reno, Nevada, and we stay on the UNR campus. It's for students who are ages 13 to 16 during program dates. It's 3 weeks long, so it's our longest summer camp as well, but for our oldest audience of students. And they all enroll in at least one course that has 3 or 4 credits. And so all students will be in a single course, and we'll go through the options for this summer. And some of those are 3 credit classes and some are 4 credits. The dates this summer are Saturday, July 13th through Saturday, August 3rd. And to be eligible for Think, there is a little bit different than our 2 other summer camps. So if you've been to any of these other information sessions, or you're aware of our other summer camps for younger students named STARS and REACH, Think does differ a little bit because it does not require students to be in our National Young Scholars Program. It's open to all students who are ages 13 to 16 during program dates. They must be U.S. citizens or permanent U.S. residents living in the U.S. And a big part of our eligibility is if they're a student who is in the Young Scholars Program or a student at the Davidson Academy or Davidson Academy Online, the test scores are waived. However, for those who are not falling into one of those membership categories, we do require an SAT or ACT score report. And that is because this is college credit and college admission. And so we don't have a minimum that we post. We really look at the application as a whole, essays, the teacher nominator, the score report, transcript, all of that to evaluate a student's readiness. But a big piece is the testing report. So we're looking for those high achieving, high gifted students. If you're having trouble getting in for an SAT or ACT test date before the application closes, please email us. But there are two national dates, one for each test, the one for the SAT and one for the ACT, that occur before the deadline, that can be taken to prepare for this application. Students must receive a positive nomination as part of the application process. And then the last eligibility piece is that students need to commit to being a full-time student during the program. Does not allow for absences. This is an actual college credit program, and there's no commuter option or part-time option. It's a full 3-week residential experience. Some of the benefits coming to think are what some of the benefits that going to any kind of summer camp can provide, but we also have some unique pieces to it. So I'd love to just kind of run through these. Biggest one that we find that really impacts our students is meeting like-minded peers. And so a lot of students coming from all across the country to attend Think come from different educational backgrounds, come from different highly gifted, profoundly gifted IQ and testing backgrounds, and they often don't always, but they can often struggle with friendships back at home, or maybe they have friends, but that not a lot that like maybe their brains work the same way, or that feel like they're really a like-minded peer. And then they come to Think, and there's 60 plus students who are all kind of in a similar age range and mind frame as themselves. So that's a huge benefit to Think. We find because it's also a 3-week summer camp, a lot of students walk away having made a lifelong friend or two. That's not always the case, but often that is a huge thing we hear in our testimonials back. That was really impactful. So that's a really exciting benefit. Students are also going to be building independence and skills, and that's life skills and academic skills. So being 3 weeks away from home and from parents and caregivers, especially at this teen age, we really challenge them to build some of these skills. They're going to learn how to do their own laundry with guidance from us. They're going to learn how to advocate for themselves, whether that's in an academic setting with their instructors or with our staff. We're going to teach them all kinds of things that naturally come just being away from home at summer camp, but then also purposely through the 3 weeks, which builds self-confidence. So we find some parents get their students back at the end of the 3 weeks in their home, and they've changed. And there's some really cool self-confidence that has grown, which is really awesome to see. They're going to experience living on a college campus, which is really exciting at this age, right before they're, in their high school endeavors, or maybe close to the end of their high school endeavors, and moving on to college. They get a little taste of what it's like to live in a dorm room with roommates and eat meals at the dining hall. And they'll be doing that for a full 3 weeks. So they get to have that experience. The intense academic challenge, it's a full college class in 3 weeks, which is a mini session or winter semester time frame. So it's fast paced, it's rigorous. And so they're going to be challenged. Their executive functioning and academic skills are going to be challenged and hopefully grown. And so it's really exciting to see what they walk away from and how they've learned and grown in that area as well. And then most importantly, have fun. So I think we have lots of time for fun in the evenings throughout the week, and especially on the weekends when we go on field trips and do some really big curated all camp wide activities as well. And we really get to know each other during the 3 week time. So it's an awesome time for fun as well. Okay, a little bit more about staff at Think. We have 24/7 supervision. So the University of Nevada, Reno requires all minors, anyone 18 and under, to be supervised at all times. So we have that, and students are always with another staff member or in presence of staff members on campus. We have to walk groups to and from things, but we definitely do it in a casual way. The students get used to the schedule and kind of where we go and where we need to be, but we always do have staff members on site and nearby. Our biggest group of staff members are our program assistants or PAs, and that's just a fancy word for camp counselor. So at Think, we have a ratio of about 8 to 10 students, depending on our total number for the summer, per camp counselor. And so they're assigned a group of students. They have their own private room, and their students live in their roommates in their rooms around theirs. And they're in charge of just making sure that's all their 8 to 10 students, leading their well-being and checking in and getting them where they need to be, their safety, making sure they're always accounted for and present. And go-to mentor and person for any student needs or concerns that come up. That's their go-to person. We also have a lead program assistant who helps fill in for those PAs as needed when things come up here and there and help guide them through the schedule. So we have some nice cushion there and some flexibility when we need an extra set of hands. We also have residential supervisors who stay on the dorm floor as well and help support almost all team members. So they support our full-time staff, our program assistants, and our health supervisors in the evenings and throughout the day and weekends for whatever might come up when it comes to running certain program activities or addressing different concerns or different things like that. They're on site as well. We have health supervisors, so we have registered nurses who we hire to do all of our medication administration and all of our address all of our health needs and concerns. So headaches and that need Advil, stomach aches that where somebody's coming down with some sort of illness, they're there on site daily as well, checking in and administering all of that care. We hire University of Nevada, Reno professors for our classes because they're actual UNR classes for UNR credit. And so we also have our instructors as part of our team, and then our full-time leadership team, who I just introduced, myself, Gabby, and Avery, are on site daily as well. So this makes up our huge summer team that excitingly gets to be with your students all summer and help run the program. We are members of the American Camp Association, and so we utilize this association for all of our professional development and for creating our policies and standards. It's a wonderful resource. It's a really big organization it's like the golden place to go to for summer camps across the country. And so we're just really proud to be members and to utilize that resource every year, all year, to update our standards and policies and make sure we're doing the best that we can be doing. We also attend the annual conference every spring, which is coming up in just a few weeks, that Avery and Gabby will be attending. And we always have some really exciting changes that we implement coming from the annual conference as well. Okay, into the much anticipated schedule that everyone wants to learn more about. Let's talk first about what the arrival weekend looks like. So the first weekend of Think this year, it'll be Saturday, July 13th. Most of the day is really spent traveling to Think and going through the check-in process. I'll be talking about the travel options later on in the presentation this year as well. But check-in and traveling to all wraps up at about 2 p.m. And then we spend some time unpacking in the dorms. And so students, bring quite a few things because it's 3 weeks long. So we want to give them some time to get comfortable and unpack their things, meet their roommates, meet their program assistant, camp counselor, and then we move right into orientation. So we go through a full-blown program orientation so the students know what to expect over the 3 weeks. They know how it's all going to run, the schedule, they know the rules and the policies, and then we pack it with a tour of the campus too, so they get to get outside and see the beautiful campus right away, which is always really exciting to show them where they'll be and where their classes will be for the 3 weeks and kind of the different areas we'll get to be at when it comes to the fitness center or the dining hall and different things like that. Um, and we spend a ton of time getting to know one another that first night too. So we do some really fun activities, icebreakers and team building things, and some can be on the lighter side and some are like competition based, like they're doing a activity where they get to work together. So we kind of try and build all of that to get students feeling comfortable and getting to know each other right away. The next day, Sunday, is spent mostly setting up students with their Davidson laptops to use for the 3 weeks for their course. And then they also get to go through course orientation. So they get to meet their professors and go through the syllabus and ask any questions before the first day of class the next day. They'll get their textbooks, and some have pre-reading and homework that night before their first day of classes, some don't. But we get them all set up and ready to go for the first full week of class on that Sunday. And then we also have some more fun and we get to know each other some more. So it's a really exciting arrival weekend. And these are some favorite pictures from last year of students getting in, doing a photo scavenger hunt, and then our check-in with parents as well. Okay, and then the weekday schedule. So for the 3 weeks, Monday through Friday, this is typically how the schedule looks. So in the morning, students are getting woken up. They'll talk with their program assistants kind of how much time they'll need if they need help getting up. Hopefully by this age range, they're able to kind of set their phone alarms and get up themselves. But, we'll be knocking on doors if we don't see students up and getting ready in time to get to breakfast. And then we head to breakfast and head to class. And so classes are out on UNR campus in the various lecture hall buildings, and so varies depending on the course. And so program assistants will get students to their class in the morning after breakfast, and then they'll spend 3 hours in their class. So it is kind of a long class time, but it is instructors provide breaks and we provide a snack as well. And that goes until noon, and then we head straight to lunch and dorm time. So from about noon to 2:30 is spent having lunch in the dining hall and then heading back up to their dorm rooms, and they can work on homework that they got from class, work on homework for their lab if they have a lab. They can take a nap, they can socialize, play a board game, read a book, whatever they might do, but just some down independent dorm time. After that, we head out for the afternoon, and if they're in a 4 credit class, they'll be in a lab time for their course, and if they're in a 3 credit class, they'll be in curated study groups. And so those who are in 3 credit classes, we set up that time for them to be in study groups, which has lots of benefits in executive functioning skill building. And also a benefit that they're hopefully getting their homework done then and not having to spend their evening after dinner doing homework then too. So they'll hopefully get it done earlier in the day. Then we head to dinner, and right after dinner, we have like an all camp-wide floor meeting where we just talk about the options for the evening, like what time you need to be to the common room on our dorm floor for laundry, or what time you need to be there if you want to go to the gym, what time you need to be there if you want to play game of basketball that we're putting together, and check in about any camp-wide announcements, play a game, things like that. So that's our floor meeting. And then from there on weeknights, it just kind of depends on the night. Mondays are usually pretty packed with studying and homework for the week, but we have some options outside of just doing studying and homework. Like I mentioned, they can go to the gym and things like that, but we have some curated time where we can take them to the Wolf Shop, which is our bookstore, and they can shop for UNR gear, snacks, course supplies that they might want that are extra outside of what we provide, different things like that. On Wednesdays, there's a watermelon on the quad event, which is a really fun event that the university puts on for the public, and it's live music. And so just to take a break from being in the dorms or being, studying and working on homework and being on their computers, they can get outside and go to the live music on the quad, with a group of other students. Thursday, we try to have time for them to study and do homework in the library. It just depends on their summer hours. And often the 3 credit class groups will be at the library sometimes during the afternoon 2:30 to 5:30 timeframe as well. So try to get them out of the dorms as much as we can, and participating in different things, balancing that with their homework time. Friday night, we have a student voted activity. We learned very quickly early on that teens are much more interested in things that they get to pick, that they get to do. So we provide some really fun themed nights, and then the most voted one wins, and that's what we do for our Friday night. It varies every year. Sometimes it's a movie night with board game options. Sometimes there's a talent show. Sometimes there's a relaxation night, and we have like different fun games and nail polish section, or a bracelet making section, or basketball in the quad, or in the, at the fitness center in the quad option, or flag football. Sometimes we do a casino night, which is like we don't take them to the casino. We do themed popsicle stick, like type of coin chips. Instead of coin chips, we do popsicle sticks, and they can play poker and kind of bet, and then we have the top winners, and different things like that. So we have some really fun on the weekends, on Friday nights. Then we move into the weekends. So there's the arrival weekend, which is just Saturday night after check-in and Sunday, and then there's 2 full weekends in the middle, and then they leave that following Saturday. So the 2 full weekends that they're here at Think, this is kind of how it looks. So we have a continental breakfast. It's not strictly 8 to 8:30. It's kind of set out in the morning, and it's usually got all kinds of gluten-free and dairy-free and healthy options, fruit, cereals, oatmeals, different things like that, yogurts. And it's just meant to hold them over until we can get to the dining hall, which opens for brunch at 11:30. But so then the morning kind of depends on the day. So if we have our Lake Tahoe field trip, we leave pretty early in the morning for that. If we don't have a field trip in the morning, it's in the evening, then the morning there's usually options for going to a coffee shop, playing a curated game, heading out on campus to just go on a leisure walk with a group. It can vary really greatly each weekend what the options are. Then after brunch, again, vice versa, it kind of depends on the day. Lake Tahoe, kind of that field trip encompasses the whole day. So we're up there until about dinner. We get back at dinner time. And this year, the opposite weekend from the Lake Tahoe field trip, we're hoping to attend the Dragon Lights show at Rancho San Rafael Park, which is really fun. Art festival type show that students can walk through and see all of it. And then there's food trucks and different things like that that they can participate in as well. Uh, Sundays are similar. Like I said, there's lots of time for them to work on their homework, do laundry, things like that, but then a lot of provided outside voted games too. So water games, minute to win it games, lots of different things that we can do to provide them breaks from studying and to get out of the dorms as well. Student life. I want to talk a little bit more about where we stay. So we've almost all year stayed in our Genta Hall. We were in there this past summer and it's newly been renovated and it's beautiful. It's a really nice dormitory compared to most across the country, especially older universities. It's pretty nice. It's got air conditioning and it's triple room occupancy. So students do need to bring their own linens, and we do not provide those. So they'll need to pack sheets and a blanket and a pillow and things like that. And we kind of talk about that on the packing list and what students need for the 3 weeks, but they get to make it as comfortable as they'd like to or not. Some come with a sleeping bag and a pillow, some come with sheets and a blanket, things like that. But each room has 3 beds, 3 desks, 3 dressers, and a shared closet area. So each room has 3 think students in it. And the bathroom is also within the room, so they don't have to go use a common floor bathroom. Each room has its own private bathroom. The sink and bathroom shelves are kind of in like a little area, and then behind a closed locked door is where the toilet and shower are, which is where we ask students to do all their changing and things like that. But that kind of encompasses how the dorm setup looks. In addition to just letting families know, I didn't mention this first, that we have our own complete floor. So no other UNR students or other camps are on our floor. We take over a whole floor between all of our students and staff, and we're on one single floor. Usually it's like the top 1 or 2 floors of the building. And on that floor in the center is the common room area, which is like a big open area with tables and seats that we usually meet at for certain things. We tell the students to head into there to get counted before we leave for certain activities and things like that. But there's study rooms in there, lots of different little study rooms that they can do, a bigger one where they can play games, watch movies, study in bigger groups. Our program assistants, camp counselors stay on the floor overnight in addition to the residential supervisors and lead program assistant, and they're spaced throughout the floor near their groups of students. They have their own private rooms. And our nurse room is on the floor locked as well. That's where we keep all of our medications. And then we also have a main staff room where we do our staff meetings and have resources for all of our staff as well. Dining, we eat all of our meals at the Down Under Cafe, which is the dining hall for all of our dormitories on the university campus. And it's buffet style. There's lots of options. They have options for vegan, vegetarian, kosher, dairy-free, gluten-free, special food allergies. They have a Thrive station that has like, I think it's like the top 8 or 9 allergen-free food as well. And so there's lots of options throughout the 3 weeks for them to be eating at each meal. And then if your student does fall into that special diet or a food allergy category, please know that the university staff is really experience at addressing those all year round with university students, but then also with our camps from the previous 20 years as well. So we work with them directly to provide a list of all of our students' needs ahead of time, and they kind of work and build the menu curated based off of who's coming to camp. If we have a lot of nut allergies, if we have a lot of dairy-free or kosher, or different things like that, vegetarian or vegan, they do their best to kind of try and curate the menu from that, in addition to working with our staff for anyone with severe allergies to make sure that they have plenty of options available, and that cross-contamination is something that's not happening and things like that. So if your student falls in there and you do have concerns or questions, or they are on the severe side, you like to make sure that's something that we can support before you apply, please reach out to us. We'd love to chat with you and to address your questions. Students are encouraged to bring their own snacks. 3 weeks is a really long time. We provide snacks in the morning at courses, in the afternoon at study group or lab time, and then in the evening there's some snacks available in the dorms as well. And then on weekend curated events, we provide snack too. So we provide lots of snacks. There's the Wolf Shop where they can purchase their own snacks throughout the week. But we do encourage them to bring their own. It's a long time to be away from home and your regular snacky type foods, and you're going to be studying and needing to focus in the evenings and throughout the day. And so if there's a favorite snack of yours that you have and you can bring it with you, or you can order and have it shipped to the dorms for Think, you can do that as well. But we do encourage that. We do ask students to avoid snacks with nuts, though, just due to food allergies. All right, let's talk about Think courses. So these are actual UNR college courses. They're private to our students only. Students are enrolled as non-degree seeking full-time summer students with the University of Nevada. So they get a student ID number. The credits go on a UNR transcript at the end. So these are real classes taught by real university professors, actual college content. It is a winter semester or mini session type of speed because it's taking a full semester amount of content down into 3 weeks. So it's fast paced and rigorous, but it doesn't mean that it's not a full class. It's still a full 3 credit or 4 credit class. So it's meant to challenge these students. And it's really exciting that we are a single course enrollment program so they can focus on their one class and really work hard at doing well at putting their all in for that class. The transcript is an official UNR transcript they receive at the end that they can send to schools in the future. They can always have access to their UNR accounts moving forward. And the classrooms are out throughout the campus. Like I mentioned, they're in, if it's a math class, they're often going to be in a building where there's often the math classes all year round, or if they're in a science class, they're going to be in a UNR lab. It's a really exciting experience for these students who've never taken any kind of college credit before. So it's a little bit more about that. Credits are real UNR credits. They can be you're welcome to advocate to have those transferred to your high school back at home to count for credit. And that's up to the school that you're transferring it to, whether they accept it or not. Same thing with colleges in the future. Typically, when you apply to college, you are asked to show any credit you've received at previous accredited institutions, and this would count. And so you can send that UNR transcript off and potentially get transferable credit for that as well. So how does it work as far as class placement? There's 6 options. How does this work? Am I taking 6 classes? No, we're taking 1 class. So there's 6 options to choose from, and they rank their preferences in the application. So they say, this is my first choice, this is my second choice, third choice, and so on. And placement is first come, first serve. So we always highly, highly, highly encourage students who maybe only have 1 class they're interested in, or 1 or 2, that they apply as soon as possible, because classes will eventually start filling. And we want to, if you want to come only for a specific course, then applying earlier than later is really important. If you're open to any and all, great. Still submit your application sooner than later, but you'll get placed, in your first choice course if it's open and there's spots available. And if not, then you'll go on a wait list for that and you'll get placed in your second or third choice and so on. But we do wait list our classes that fill, and you'll get placed in a lower one and can move off of those lower ones up into your first or second choice course off of a wait list should spaces open. So just important to get it in earlier than later. Some of the classes have prerequisites. This year, the only one that does is Math 181. It has a pre-calc trigonometry prerequisite, and students do have to meet that. This is actual UNR credit, and we submit this information to UNR admissions and records, and so they have to meet that prerequisite in order to take that class. So this year, the 6 options are, I'll just run through these really quick. They're listed on our website. Sociology 101, Principles of Sociology. This is a great class for students. It's a highly transferable class. Often 4-year institutions require something like a social and anthropology class. And so this is a great one. Dr. Clayton Peoples has been teaching at Think for a number of years, and he's a really engaging and fun instructor. Then we have History 209 and 498. So History 209 is World History 2. That's a 3 credit class. And then History 498 is Advanced Historical Studies, a 1 credit research class. So those together combined make 4 credits. And Dr. Ned Schoolman is teaching this class, and he is a big reason why a lot of students return to think in subsequent years because he's such a fun and engaging instructor. He makes learning history sound like the coolest thing you could ever do, and he loves to have those like really in-depth, inspired, engaging conversations to ask the hard questions to really work with the students really closely. So this is a really cool class and is one of the 2 options that we have this summer for 4 credits if your students wanting to be in a class with a lab, which is really exciting way to fill their schedule and credits. Neuroscience 105, Introduction to Neuroscience is our 3rd option with Dr. Fang Jian. She's awesome. She's taught at Think for a couple years before as well, and this is a really interesting class, and so we're excited to have that back this summer. We have Math 181, which is a full-blown Calculus 1 class. It is 4 credits. And so students will be in normal class in the morning and then have like a lab study time in the afternoon to make up that 4th credit as well. So it's going to be a full semester worth of calculus in 3 weeks, fast-paced and rigorous. But if your student is really strong in math and meets the prerequisite of pre-calc and trig and has done well in that, this is a great transferable class as well. And then we have Human Development Family Science 201, which is Lifespan Human Development. This class is one of my favorites. I have my degree in Human Development and Family Science, so I love this class. This has a lot of great science in it, and you learn a lot about the humans from in the womb up to an adult and above age. So it's a great class. There's lots of theories that you learn and different things like that. And it's a good challenging class as well. And then Anthropology 222, we're so excited to have Dr. Marin Pillow back again this summer. She taught last year, and we're excited to have forensic anthropology. How exciting does that sound? So this seems like a really interesting class as well, and makes me wish I could come back and attend Think as a student. So just kind of to reiterate some of those big points, these are fast-paced and rigorous courses. And so one of the things to keep in mind is if your student's ready and or wants to prepare for this program, working on good time management and organization and those executive functioning skills is really important, because at the end of the day, we can't force your student to do homework or to study and do well on tests. They're going to, like, we check in heavily with them, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, but it's student-led at the end of the day. So they're going to have to put in the effort and work. And so things that they can be working on would surround time management, organization skills. However, we have our program assistants sit in every one of these classes. They don't necessarily know the content of the class, but they are there as like a staff point of contact. They help the instructor with certain classroom things, but they're keeping a pulse on how students are doing in the class, who's struggling, who's not, who's fallen asleep, who's not, things like that. And they're aware of what homework and tests are coming up. And then they check in with students in the evening, like with their group of from their class, who's done it, who hasn't, who needs help, who wants to form a study group. They kind of help facilitate that. So we help guide them through the 3 weeks as well. Students get to communicate directly with their instructors just like at college. And so that's huge, I think, and a great learning experience. We help them through that process. We prep them for what that looks like at the 3 weeks. And as it comes up, and it might be needed, and if they need help and have questions, we help them navigate that. But it is a great experience that they get to learn. And then we connect with the parents as needed. So parents aren't talking with instructors, but our staff will talk with parents about students' academic standing. However, no news is good news in this case. So we're only really typically reaching home if a student's struggling. We do send out progress reports right before the last full week of Think, so students and parents know where they're standing and their grade is going into that last week where there's finals and final projects. But outside of that, we're not like giving regular academic updates. We're giving regular program updates, but not regular academic updates unless the student's struggling. Parents are always welcome to check in and ask directly to their student and or to our staff on how things are going. But we do reach out if needed, and it's not always a detrimental negative thing. It's sometimes it's just, hey, the first week's been a lot for your student. We're wanting to support them, and we brainstorm and work with parents on those topics. Health and wellness. So prior to the program, we take in all of the students' health history information, insurance cards. We need a recent physical exam within the past 2 years. So if you're really interested in going to this program and you haven't had a physical exam within past 2 years from program dates, want to get that scheduled with a doctor. We take immunization records, which are specific to Think. Our UNR does require some specific immunizations for anyone enrolling. So those are all posted on our website in our communicable illness plan. So make sure that you're reading that to make sure your student fits those. And if not, we do accept certain waivers, but UNR has to approve for certain ones like MMR and Tdap and the meningitis one as well. So reach out to us if you have any questions about those immunization requirements. We also need to know what kind of medications your student's coming with, and those can be updated prior to. Our health supervisor reviews all of that, calls home if needed to prepare for student arrivals to make sure she's ready for who's coming and can care for them the best to her ability. And so that's kind of how it works prior to. And then when students arrive, everyone is health screened. And that's just making sure everyone's coming into the community healthy, not with fevers or symptoms and things like that. That's really important because we don't want students getting sick and having to withdraw from classes and go home. So we do lots of hand washing reminders and certain protocols with students during camp to try and keep the healthiest community that we can. But a big part of that is making sure everyone coming to camp is healthy. And so that starts on parents' end prior to camp. We collect medication, every single OTC, over the counter, vitamin, supplement, things like that. Everything, prescriptions are all collected and kept in our health supervisor room. Exceptions are rescue medications like inhalers and EpiPens can be kept on students. And then our health supervisors on site daily, often multiple times a day. So if your student has morning meds, evening meds, midday meds, they're there administering those. And then there are support for student health concerns that come up. If that's a stomach ache, a headache, an injury, whatever it might be, they are there on site daily to address those. Another great thing though is that Think students have access to the UNR Student Health Center. So if they do get sick at camp or have an injury or something that comes up, we can take them up to the health center and they can see a doctor same day. And so that's another wonderful resource for us. In addition to, they get to exercise at our beautiful new fitness center. And we provide options to that pretty much every day that they're at the program. There's some exceptions in the beginning before they get their IDs. And if something were to change our protocols for scheduling, but otherwise typically almost every day there's an option to go exercise. All right, travel options. So new this year, last year we required all parents and guardians or alternative adults to check students in and out of Think. However, this year we're going to provide a shuttle option as well. But first I'll talk about option one. So everyone has this option. You can travel with an adult. It can be a parent guardian, or it can be an alternative adult contact over the age of 25 that your parent designates. So that may be another Think student's parent or somebody local in the area that you're aware of, but they can travel with her adult point of contact and check into the program and check out that way and or check out that way. Check-in is Sunday, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't update those. Those are wrong dates and times. I apologize. Check-in is Saturday, July 13th. I'll have Avery throw this in the chat if she doesn't mind. Check-in is Saturday, July 13th from 12 to 2 p.m. And then check-out is Saturday, August 3rd from 8 to 10 a.m., I believe. We bumped it a little bit later this year. So I'll have her throw those in the chat. They're also posted on our travel page in our parent resources. Second option is students can travel independently and reserve our shuttle service. So we stopped doing a shuttle last year, but we're going to bring it back this year. However, it's going to be very limited in what we're offering. So it's going to be $100 each way, and students can reserve that shuttle. It does not provide unaccompanied minor service, which typically at 13, some airlines are still requiring that even at 14 or maybe 15. So check with your specific airlines if they have to purchase a ticket at their age that's an unaccompanied minor. We cannot accommodate that. It needs to be a full ticket where they do not have to travel with adult supervision. I know Southwest is as young as 11 doesn't require it, but some airlines require it at 13 or even 14. So check with your airline because we do not provide unaccompanied minor pickup or drop off. So they have to be able to travel fully by themselves without that service from their airline. But basically, our shuttles will pick students up and at the baggage claim area. So we'll provide like a very detailed area near baggage claim. They'll have to get themselves off the plane from their gates. Our airport's really small. It's really easy to navigate. Get a snack or lunch because the first program meal isn't until dinner, and then get their own bags and be able to meet our staff member at a designated area, and then we'll take them up to camp. And then on the way home, we just take them to the check-in tables, but they have to be able to check in and submit their bags by themselves and get through security by themselves because again, we are not doing any kind of unaccompanied minor drop off. The dates on here are also wrong. I apologize. I still had the reach ones on here. But arrival shuttles for Saturday, July 13th will start no earlier than I think like 11:30 a.m. So your flight can be anytime in the morning, but our shuttles won't start till 11:30-ish. We're still reserving those and they'll end at about 12:30, I believe, or 1 p.m. so that we can get your students back up to campus in time for check-in to end at 2. So we'll be releasing those specific dates to enrolled families, but the flight would need to be landing before that end time so that students can get on our shuttle in time. Otherwise, they'll miss it and not be able to utilize that. Departure day, it'll be an earlier time frame. So our checkout with parents or adults is from 8 to 10, and I think we'll start taking trips with shuttles from UNR to the airport somewhere around 5:30 or 6 a.m. So your flight the earliest you could book a flight home for your student to travel independently would be about 7:30 or 8 a.m. because you'll want to give them about 2 hours to be able to get through the normal travel things at the airport. So all of that is listed out on our website currently and will be provided to enrolled families before they're booking their flights. Gonna just run through a few more things so that we can get to some Q&A, but communication at Think. So students can bring cell phones to Think. However, we really emphasize and value a fully connected community. And so the cell phone use is only in the dorms. So they can use it in the morning when they wake up before breakfast. They cannot take it to breakfast or to class. They can then access it again after lunch when they have their 2-hour break in the dorms. And then they cannot take it to labs or study groups, but then they get it back again after dinner. And then for the rest of the evening until the next breakfast. So they have lots of access to their phones, but we do require that they stay in the dorms. And this is huge and a huge benefit for our students and for our community at camp. Not only does it allow them to then fully engage with their classes and focus, it also allows them to fully engage with one another. Our staff all have work phones and devices, and so safety wise, we're still very safe and have communication with each other and parents as needed, but students' cell phones have to stay and be only be used in the dorms, which we're in the dorms throughout the day, every day of the 3 weeks. So we also reach out to parents. So we're not just having your kid check in and saying, talk to you in 3 weeks. We're going to be sending home regular program emails a couple times a week with updates on how we're doing at camp, any of the fun things we're doing, and we have photos that we upload. So each week there's regular program photos anywhere. Albums will have new uploads from the days. We'll have anywhere from 20 to a couple hundred, depending on what we're doing. And you can see all the fun that we're having at camp. We also reach out to parents if we need to give your child medical care. If you can offer support when it comes to academics, behavior, student care. We send those progress reports homes to all families. And then, of course, if any thing changes at camp and we are altering our programs or protocols, we let families know as well. However, no news is good news. So we reach out. We're not shy to reach out to parents as needed. Even if it seems like a small thing, we like to be in touch with families and to partner with them with caring for their student. But at the end of the day, no news is good news. So how can you prepare for this program? The first place you can start is the parent resources section of the website. And Avery will be sharing this link in the chat, but all of our program policies and protocols run across all 3 of our camps. So it's not, a lot of this isn't directly on the Think homepage. It's here in the parent resources section, which you can get to from the Think homepage as well. Or on the main summer programs page before you click into Think, there's a link to it as well. But you can read more about our health and medical care, homesickness, and how we handle that. Our program handbook will be linked here, all about our travel options, the packing lists, more information about 24/7 supervision at Think, communicable illness plan policies, which is really important, electronic device policies, and then our communication as well. So check this out and have your student check it out. So they should be coming to camp pretty aware of kind of what the policies are and how we run things as well. So kind of going back to the academic piece, it's really important to be practicing good homework habits. What does a syllabus for a college look like? Maybe you yourself went to college, and so you can kind of share your experience of what that looked like in the past. We do post tentative syllabuses. We will hopefully be posting those here in the next month or so on the website. So you guys can be looking at those before coming to camp. But just what is a syllabus? What is that? Why is that helpful? Talking through that with your student. Following instructions is really important in college classes. What kind of citing your sources do you need to be doing? Do you need to be putting your name on this? Do you need to be in essay format? What is essay format? You'll get docked little silly points for not following those things, and instructors are flexible as they can be, but however, it is an actual college class, so they have to be fair with their grading too. So don't get dinged for those little things. Communicating with an instructor. Does the syllabus say is their preferred way for communication? Is it email? Is it through our online portal for our classes? What does that look like? Reviewing the website and handbook together, knowing what the policies are so there's no surprises coming to camp when they get here, whether that's the cell phone policy or other things. Sharing consistent and positive messages about camp and showing confidence in your student's ability are huge. So if you're going to be really nervous and not feel confident about your student going away for 3 weeks, they're going to pick up on that. So the more you are positive and excited and willing to learn and navigate that together, the better. And then at this age, they probably should be packing almost all their things, but I'm sure you'll be helping them as well. But that really can help them prepare and feel confident that they have everything that they need coming to camp. So beyond eligibility, is program a good fit? A few things to think about. 3 weeks long is long time for a first experience away at summer camp, but We have students who've never been to summer camp that come to think and do just fine and are successful and aren't homesick and all those kinds of things. So it is a consideration though, if that's something that your student will struggle with being away for that long. We do not have a commuter option or an option to just attend for a week or two. They'll be in a room with two other participants for those 3 weeks. And so sometimes they've never had that experience before. Often they haven't, and that's okay too, but it is something they will have to commit to. They'll have to be okay with the technology and cell phone policy. We don't allow personal laptops or gaming devices or things like that. We provide Davidson laptops, and then their cell phones have to stay in the dorms. They need to be able to function within a schedule that can allow actually quite a bit more than 8 hours of sleep if they really wanted to go to bed earlier, but typically a night is going to hold anywhere from 8 to 10 hours of sleep for a student if they're getting their homework done and they're not up late socializing too late. We do have a lights out time on the floor, but because they're teens and they're there to also have fun and socialize and to work on their classes, it's a little later than maybe some students go to bed at home, and so they're going to need to be able to navigate their own sleep habits and follow directions from our staff members as well. So quickly going through the application, it's now open if you've not been in there. Please check it out on our how to apply page. Avery will be sending a link to that as well. But placement is programs is first come, first serve in the courses. So if they're really interested in only one or two different courses, the best advice I can do is submit their application sooner than later. However, at the end of the day, the deadline is all the way in March, end of March. You will find that certain courses will fill before then, and or the program could fill before then. So that's really the latest application deadline that we'll have. And really the biggest steps is you're going to have your student prep the materials. Students and parents will apply online together. There's student and parent portions where the parent needs to sign certain things, and then they'll upload their application materials, such as their essays and transcripts and things like that at the end. And there is a $25 application fee. It's normally 50, but we are celebrating 25 years as an organization this year. So we have a special rate of $25 app fee this year. So I wanted to point out one last thing before I jump into Q&A. Is once you're done prepping those materials and then you're ready to submit things online, it's really good to prep them ahead of time so you have the documents ready to go. But once you're done applying, then you have access to upload materials after you fully submit the application. So this is the confirmation page. It says application submitted. You can see that right there. And I have the red circle around the My Account menu. That's what you're going to click on if you're ready to then automatically go into uploading your documents, and you'll upload the citizenship form if you need it. That's only for permanent residents. You'll upload your essays, your test scores, and your transcript. If you have test scores waived, you don't have to upload those. You can read more info about how to navigate those forms there, but this is the upload button that you're looking for on the right hand side. Click that arrow and you can browse your computer for those files. If you don't hit My Account menu at the end of submission and you want to come back later and upload later that day or the next day, the link to get back into your portal is posted on the How to Apply page at the bottom under Upload Application Materials. Okay, it's already 2:02. Sorry, went a little bit over there, but I wanted to get you guys all of that information. I'm going to jump into the Q&A box, but in the meantime, our contact information is up there on this slide. So please reach out to us. We would love to talk with you. We don't mind questions at all. We want to hear from you. So call us or email us. And we would be more than happy to address any small, big, all the questions under the sun. So like I mentioned before, Avery did type responses to some Q&As, so go ahead and check out if your question has been answered typed via typing, but otherwise it looks like we only have one unanswered question. How do grades work? That's a great question. So it's depending on the class, the syllabus will outline whether it's a class that goes off of a plus or minus scale or not, or if it's a full A, B, C, D, or if it's A minus, A plus, A minus, A, B plus, those kinds of things. Each department at the university delegates whether their classes use pluses or minuses or not, and the syllabus will say whether it does it, and then how many points you have to get to earn those different levels. So instructors grade things as they go. Often there's like a test. Usually most classes have a test each week. So there's a test the first week, a midterm, and then a final. That's not always the case. It's just like any other college class, college semester, your classes will vary on what kind of the testing looks like, what different homework assignments you have, what projects you have, and what points all of those are, and if they're weighted points or not. And all of that's detailed in the syllabuses as well. But it's the grades are always provided to students through their online portal called Web Campus. So our university uses Web Campus as their portal, and that'll host like the area where students upload assignments and things like that, even though they're going to class in person every day. And in there, they can track their grades. Final grades will be posted in there like following a week or so after the program. And then their transcripts are with their final grade that they received, we email home in September. So admissions and records get us those grades transcripts back by usually mid-September, and we send those home sometime in September. But students can look in the portal to see their final grades, usually by beginning to mid-August. It's up to students if they want to give access to their parents to the portal or not, but we send home those progress reports that last week of Think on Sunday prior to the last full week, so parents are aware of their standing for their grades on that day. Are students grouped together by age? Typically not. So we really mix together the program camp counselor, program assistant groups. They are typically more grouped together by age for roommates. We try to keep 13 or 14-year-olds together, 14 and 15-year-olds together, 15 and 16-year-olds together. But otherwise, we're mostly together as a mass camp group throughout the day, or in their classes, they're a mix of the 13 to 16 age range, excuse me. So roommates, I guess, are a little bit based off age and a number of other factors that we take into consideration in a survey from students. But otherwise, we're all together mixed up throughout the 3 weeks for the 13 to 16 age range. Okay, we only have another minute or so before we're going to jump off here. If we don't get to your question, please email us or call us. I'll answer one more. Prior years offers different classes, Intro to CS, which is not included this year. Would that be back next year? That's a great question. We love having Intro to CS. We do not have a computer science this year. We vary our courses every year. So we have returning students who come, some come 3 years in a row, 4 years in a row, 2 years in a row, and we vary what courses we offer every year so that students can come back each year and take different classes. And there's a very real possibility computer science could be back next year. We just finalized our 2024 classes, so we're not sure what 2025 will bring, but it is a possibility that it could be back. We're not sure where that list will go for next year, but we'll know soon. So awesome. Well, that's all we have time for. So I'll throw it back to Arlene. Again, if we didn't get to your questions, please email us because we'd love to talk with you more about Think.
Awesome. Thank you, Kayla, for sharing this information about REACH and addressing questions from our audience. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us. Please remember to do the survey after the session closes. And if you'd like to view this session again, the recording will be posted on the Davidson Gifted website. We hope you have a great rest of your afternoon. Bye.
Thank you.